Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to change the world one starfish or one person at a time. As always, guys, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share, all the things. Appreciate how you guys are getting the word out. Excited for our guest today. Demetri and I have known each other for a while through Arate, and he is a multi-talented entrepreneur, gone from accounting to contractor, now all aspects basically of real estate, from what I gather. He's writing a book called Love Through Service, which I'm excited about. So keep an eye out for that. But thanks for being on, Demetri. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Angela. It's a pleasure. I'm a big fan of you as a person and your work.
Awesome. Well, let's get into things. So, let's go back to what got you into being into accounting, first of all. Start with that, and then kind of like what made you transition from all the things.
Well, thank you for asking. So I started out. I'm a Villanova University graduate. I graduated with accounting and finance degrees, and back then it was the big push to be in public consulting. One of the big four companies. That's the springboard to success. I landed there about a couple years later into those fields, but I see accounting as the backbone and fundamentals of business. Like I got into stock trading at 12 years old from a great uncle. So I saw the value of compound investing, and I also see that being able to read financial statements is important, so that you can talk to anybody. Like every other part, I always figured that you can learn, but accounting seemed harder to understand. So it was my doorstep into business, into the world of consulting, into the world of traveling to different places and not really knowing what you're doing, but figuring it out, because the partner gets out of their meetings at 5 p.m. So you have to, just learn as you go and be self-directed. And a lot of times there's a struggle in that, but there's a lot of growth in that struggle, and it is worth it. But what's not worth it is to work for other people for a long time. So that led me to, wanting to say, what can I create for myself? And it's opportunity. And I created opportunities in real estate. I went and I bought properties at auction while I was still working at Deloitte, because it made sense. I saw other people improving areas and making money. And it wasn't that was my motive. My motive was to improve a neighborhood. Like, just like a row of teeth. If someone smiles, you want to see a full, nice row. If you see a missing tooth, you're like, can someone fix that, please? So let that someone be me. And so I bought my first property in 2005, and with $6,000 down. I bought a property. I never went inside. I only saw the outside. And I took a leap of faith because the neighborhood was still dangerous. But I said, this neighborhood will get better. How come no one else sees it? I see it. So I bought that and one more property that day. And slowly I fixed it up. I cleaned out tons of trash, tons of clothes, years of accumulated stuff, belongings that who knows who had. And I made it a beautiful home. And when I sold it, it went to a now family from DC who moved to the area. So they're saving money because they got a low interest rate at the time. We bought into a place, stayed a fabric of the neighborhood as the neighborhood improved. And I was a part of that. So that's why I do this.
That's cool. So when you transitioned and started to do that thing, did you have a lot of, support from family or friends, or did you have a lot of people think you were kind of not so supportive? Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so there's two camps, right? I think my parents have always been, such loving, good people. I mean, my father's an immigrant, came here legally in the 70s from Greece, self-made man, electrician, builder. He'd always come to my help, always answered a question I had. Sometimes over-involved, but that's okay. It's for my own good. And a mom who never says no. Did you eat? Did you sleep well? Always asking those key questions and saying, wow, and going to church, of course, that's the biggest place where parents love to brag is, oh, my kid bought a property. What did your kid do? And it doesn't matter what size property and how much money was involved. Just the fact that the effort was made. is a positive thing. And like you said, some communities, they welcome that, and other times they don't. I went to friends that I grew up with, people I knew from 2 years old, and I said, "Come on, guys, there's these great opportunities. Let's buy it together. Let's own a whole neighborhood." You know what they would say? "You do it first." Well, I don't talk to those people, or if I do see them, it's for 5 minutes in church, and I say a quick hello and goodbye. I'm the nice guy, right? And sometimes being the nice guy or gal is it's to your detriment, but I think it's a superpower. Being humble and patient with people is a strength that I've developed over years. I thought it was a weakness, but it's a super strength because most people aren't patient and they react instead of respond to any kind of stressful situation that's going on.
What are some things that you've done to help yourself become more patient?
I think it's just having some tough knocks in your life. I think it's failures. I think in my life it would be like a divorce. And again, this it's a long time ago. It's like a different me. All the sales have changed, and I'm a new identity. But these situations did happen, so now I'm able to relate to people who've gone through that. I've had health struggles. I've had depression. So anyone who's gone through that, guess what? I know how to help. I literally bought a phone number, and this 3054 relief. Anyone can call or text. I don't care if you have real estate to sell. I help people because I like to. Some people ask for marketing help. I'm not the expert. Some people ask for just a friend, just to listen. And that's who I am. That's what I like to be. That's part of my identity.
So you said you went through depression. I think that's a common thing, especially the last few years.
Yeah.
Anxiety, depression, all of that kind of mental illness stuff, what do you want to call it? What kind of got you into it? Because I don't see you as a super depressed kind of person. What made you drop into it, and then how did you get out of it?
I would say I think I think in 2007 I think I had symptoms of depression from college. From the moment I started college, I felt very alone. And when you double major, take 6 classes, you scatter yourself. And I didn't want to pick up vices. I didn't want to join fraternity just to drink, knowing that that's the social place, knowing that's the place where you can have a girlfriend. I didn't know how to talk to girls, nor was I, let's say, materialistic. So I was more humble. So it's like, how am I going to match up with someone who understands this weird person? So so I existed alone, and then I thought it was wrong to be alone, but I knew that it wasn't wrong, deep down, and it took years to kind of fully reveal that. So I fell deeper into a depression in like '07 when I started feeling symptoms of, I guess you would call fibromyalgia, and the whole body kind of. I don't know if it's similar to what you struggle with, but full body flames, and people can't understand it. You get tests, and then they call you crazy. So you kind of deal with it. You find all kinds of ways into it, and that's what led me into personal development. Is finding my way out, because a lot of our pain is real, but a lot of it is also emotion. And so it's a effort of releasing these traumas and setbacks and failures and resentments and everything that we've ever gone through in our life. So we clear that interference, we can rise to our full potential.
So you got into personal development. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I went really hard into it right after divorce, and there's a community out of Texas. I'm like, okay, this is a happy little community, and I went there and I studied it a little bit, and I'm like, this is not my crew. So I would find another crew and another crew, and I would go to all kinds of events until I kind of found my home with Arate a few years later. Such a wonderful, supportive family, and not just a community or a network, as some would say, but people who want each other to win. Like that's fuel, in those low moments, your story, other people's stories, they really get people through darkness, and whether they know it or not. And our teacher, Ed Milet, shared it yesterday on the call that, hey, please share the wins. Like if I have a development and I got bad tenants on and good tenants in, I should say that. Like that I felt good, that I literally felt relief over this positive shift, or if you had a great team meeting that led to positive direction in your company, share that, because people want to hear that and want to celebrate that with their full heart. And I think that's something that the world needs, is to have these lighthouses, and that's what we get to be when we rise together in these groups. So that's the power that this brought. And the fact that the common question we say is not where did you go to drink last night, but what are you reading? What books are on your desk? Oh, have you read this? Oh, it's wonderful. And unreasonable hospitality, right? You went to a summit where you see the author, and I'm like, I got to pick this up because it overlaps with what I do, is serving the client over and beyond what makes sense. But because it serves the longer term relationship that's needed there. And I think you do that in your own work. It's not always about the money, it's always about serving the client's needs.
Right. So you kind of said you came out of a divorce, and then that got you into the personal development. I'm gathering, and I don't actually know this very much, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you had an issue, you said, with like meeting a girl. So then you obviously met a girl, and then you married a girl, and then you divorced a girl. So like, what was the time frame, and how did that affect you? Because like you said at the beginning, that was part of like why you felt alone, and then you finally found someone, and then you kind of had to get rid of someone, or however that works. It was pretty major.
It was. It was. You know what it is? It's a roller coaster, right? And I think in retrospect, just like when you hire, you need to qualify better. Each other, not just one way. Like it can't be just like, oh, she was wrong for me, I was wrong for her. It was more like, it's like two cars or two ships passing in the night. They go different directions. The alignment, the growth that you want, maybe somebody else doesn't want. Maybe some person wants to stay home and watch Netflix, and you want to read. Or you want to go to a personal development event this weekend, and they want to go to a concert. You know what I mean? So these things tear up relationships, and we see it kind of common in our circles. People share it openly. And that doesn't mean that we wish anyone harm. I wish them all the best in life and love and success, but it may not be with me, because that could be an anchor to my growth. And that's saying it as nicely as possible, because it's the truth. And
and you could be stunting theirs.
If I'm harming their journey, then I don't want to do that. I really don't. And what that does is it kind of cleans the slate, because, again, not to dwell on the past, but it was kind of like, all right, you grew to a level of success, now do it again. Now start over, literally, from like one asset and very little belongings, and prove you can. And so it was a lesson in humility, right? So that's, you asked how I'm able to have humility, have everything taken away from you, right? And don't blame yourself, blame others. There is no blame. There's, okay, this is the current situation. We study Stoic philosophers. This is what is. Now what do we do? Take a moment to cry. Take a moment to say this isn't right, and then accept it and move on. And that strengthens us. And now we're kind of calloused in that battle for the next thing that comes. And we're humble in that, you know what? By sharing that this happened to us, we're real people. It's not an image on the marketing brochure. I'm real. The real estate really, like that's what we stand for. Helping people, in bad situations, because I've been in them. I've been behind on payments. When people don't pay you, then how do you come up with that money to pay that rent? That mortgage, that everything. Those are your burdens as an owner. And if someone has owned something the last few years where cities have they've been tenant friendly. So that hurts landlords. And now they're tired, and they're holding this thing, and they're nearing retirement. And they're like, what do I do with this thing? The tenant won't leave, and they have all these rights. So sometimes they call a person like me, and they say, can you just buy this? I'm done with it. So it's an unconventional sale. Normally when you sell something, you have this mess. Most agents don't want to deal with it. I don't mind, because I've been in it. So that is my differentiator.
Awesome. What your love through service, your book you're writing? Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh wow. Okay, so I'll give you a sneak peek in this first, and thank you for having me on. This is actually my first guest. I'm more nervous about this episode than than even when I prepared for David Meltzer. I was like, I'm like, how do I talk about myself? Like this is far out. So can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, for sure. You're writing a book, you said, on love through service. Tell us a little bit about it. Like, what do you see it? What's your goal for it?
Okay. So love through service to me is me. Right. I went through one of these Tony Robbins 5-day events. We were hopping and jumping till 2 a.m. And have you done it? Is that why you're laughing? Okay.
No, but I went to like a couple hour one. I didn't go to the full one.
But you know what that's like. I do. Yeah. To jump and get into peak prime state and just feel your best, right? So I'm in this breakout room with like 3 strangers from different countries who I don't know at all. I don't know what they do. I don't know their names. I don't know anything except they're nice people. And one person is nice enough to say, Demetri, what's your mission statement? And I say all these words, right? And I'm saying, this is what you're supposed to say, right? That, it's corporate speak. And they're like, that's too many words. We'll get back to you. They said, we'll get back to you. And I said, I'm ready. I said, what do you mean you're ready? I said, well, I trimmed it down. I'm ready. What is it? Love through service. That's what I stand for. I love people, right? Love resonates high. I care about that person who's injured. I care about that person who's down on their luck. I care about that person who needs a smile, right? Who needs a couple dollars, who needs a shirt, who needs a place to sleep, right? I've stopped the clock sometimes for hours, and these stories will be in the book, okay? One of my core values is to lead by example. And outside a closed down theater, it's called the Trocadero by Chinatown, I meet this man. His name is Alfred, and he's homeless, but he's playing the guitar. We hang out for 2 hours. 2 hours. We're talking. He's crying. We're hugging. Why? Because I sit down. I end up giving him $50. He doesn't need it. The world provides. God provides, right? But me being present, radically present, not looking at my watch, not looking at my phone. That's okay. It can wait. This person needs me right now. He taught me some guitar, right? These stories will be in the book. And because there's one that's so good, if I talk about it, I think I'll cry. But it's about a native person that I picked up in Salt Lake City. I'll share it anyway because I think you deserve to hear it. So does your audience. I met this man in Salt Lake City. I was walking to go to a meeting where I could have raised a lot of money for my real estate company, like millions. And I postponed that meeting, right? Because I met this native person who was looking for a temple. I thought, okay, maybe he's a missionary looking for more. No, he wanted help. He was lost. He was moving from one place to another. And I don't know if he had some stage of forgetfulness or if he was literally a wanderer looking for his next home. And this was winter. So nobody had resources for him. But I had a second bed at the Holiday Inn. I said, why don't you stay here? Okay. I said, did you eat? No. Okay, what do you want to eat? Hamburger. Okay, cool. So I get him whatever he wants. I leave him in the room. I leave all my things in the room because I trust him. Right? We connected. And I also left him some pencils and paper because he said he's an artist. So I come back hours later, right? He didn't even fall asleep. He's just sitting on the bed watching a nature show. Okay? And he drew me a picture of a teepee, right? And in this teepee, he talks about the oneness of life. He went deep because he talks about his history as a medicine man, through his family, ancestry, and sharing all kinds of stories that I'll write in the book. But I want to talk about this as a tale of giving, right? How much did it really cost me? And at the end of the day, he needed a bus out of town. Okay, cool. That's why he was in the room all day, because the next bus wasn't until 10 o'clock. But it wasn't 10 o'clock. It was 2 a.m. It was delayed. Do you think I was just going to drop him off there? No. Like I said, people in our circle go the extra mile. We do it. We don't just say it. So I'm there next to him, sleepy, but next to him and make sure he goes on the right train so he gets to the right place. And he knew where he was going to go when he got there. And when he said, "How much was that train ticket?" I said, $86. You bought that for me? I said, no, I thank you that I get to do that for you. Right. So there's this level of kindness, and I'm not monetizing. I'm not trying to please don't call me great, but just be good to people. Be kind if you can, if it fits you. I've been overkind to the point where it hurts my growth. And now I'm kind of pulling back and saying, you know what? You can give better from a full cup that's not broken.
You got to do both. That's awesome. I love it. Switching gears a little bit.
Sure.
So into real estate is what you do now.
Yeah.
What are some common, loopholes or things or whatever, whatever you want to call it, things that people fall into? What are some things that like people get into real estate and a lot don't do very well in it? Let's be honest. What are some common pitfalls, I guess that's the word, that people can fall into, and maybe how do you help prevent them if someone wants to get into real estate?
I think it's I would say the false ego.
Mm.
The fact of someone pretending to be who they're not. Right? Like people say, fake it till they make it. There might be a level to that. There might be a level of just stand up and go take the effort, but you can't fake the results. You can't fake the camaraderie. If you're not attentive, right? Here's the thing. Here's the key to success. Be attentive. Respond to messages. If you initiate contact, please respond. If you're an agent with the listing and there's a buyer agent, please respond. Right? If they don't respond, I mean, that's so basic.
It seems so simple, but it's right.
You know what? This is going to get you to be dominant in this market. You talk about the shift in like percentages of payment, and people are going to be wasting their spring fighting over what percentages each broker is going to pay each other. Guess what? I'll buy your house direct. While they fight each other and don't serve the client anymore, I'm happy to serve the client. Go direct. So this is the difference, is pulling back the layers. And a lot of brokerages hurt the agent's success because they won't let them grow. They prohibit how they market. They get in the way of their success. Sometimes they even badmouth the seller, the agent to the seller, trying to steal their own listing. Like, there's a lot of these environments that are sharks. That's why I want to be like the dolphin in there. I want to help you. Okay, I'll still eat fish, but I'm not going to kill you, right? I still want to eat. I still want to buy this property at a fair price, but I'll be upfront about it. One thing that hurt me, I think the reason I even got in this business was in '09, the previous recession, I was down on my luck. I was about to lose my house. I was 4 payments behind on the project I was about to flip to that family. And if I didn't come up with money soon, it was going to be gone. So I had to sell some lots that I wanted to build on. And I said, all right, I'll just make a small profit and move on. $30,000. That was the agreed price. 2 days before settlement, it's going to be 25. Well, what do you mean? Well, either I'm going to pay you 25 or you're going to put it on the market again. So I accepted the price, and he immediately built on it. So it was just more like a game to that person. So not the nice kind of game, right? And that 5 at that time would have really made a big difference, but I trucked through. So, when you talk about what real estate people are doing, right or wrong, whether they be a wholesaler or agent, a lot of times it's not acting out of integrity. Ethics matter. If you plan to stay in the same town most of your life, please be good to others. Please don't nickel and dime a transaction, because guess what? That agent, they're not going to bring their buyers to the next listing because it was a bad deal with you in the last one. Even if your house is perfect for their buyer, they won't match up. That's how people think behind the radar. It's not in books. You have to see it. You have to live it. A lot of agents aren't even doing the work. They're not following routines and habits. They kind of say, well, I kind of need money, so I kind of make some calls. Well, can you be on, like, set hours that if I call you at a certain time, you'll answer the phone and won't come up with an excuse that you left your phone somewhere? I heard that. I actually heard that from someone who then every day says how great they are. Like it doesn't make sense. It's not congruent. So that's what it is. Whatever service line we're in, please be congruent. Do what you say you're going to do at some point. And if you can't do it, tell me that. And I would love you for that. That's tremendous honesty, and I'm great with that. So I hope that answers your question. Do you have like so another thing that if I may add, um, you know, this is a time of a lot of shifts in the market. Interest rates are kind of trending higher. We're as agents and investors and all, if it costs us more to buy a property, we have to factor that into our purchase price. You know what I mean? Like it costs us more to carry that property. If it used to be 3% or 5%, now it's 8, 9. Like I'm going through that now. A refinance that takes longer, costs more, and variables outside my control and variables inside my control. So I try to take as much inside my control as possible so I can move the football forward towards the goal line. And that's what you got to do as an agent and a wholesaler and an investor is just push forward and never give up. Like it's so easy to give up. So many people do. Even I have. In the last few years, there've been days where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but I keep moving forward.
Awesome. I love that. So in wrapping up, I always ask 3 final questions and then anything we didn't touch on that you want to leave the listeners with. So first and final question is if someone is looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you could say that could help them find it?
To find someone's purpose, I would suggest somebody kind of go take a walk in the forest and put their phone in their car and take up to an hour or more and just think, what do I want with my life? You know, and if you pray or you're mindful, just ask for an answer. You know, and the answers will come or something will come to you, right? Or ask you as a prayer before you go to bed. And these are things that I've done that help reveal these answers to me.
Awesome. Second question, what's a favorite quote and why?
A quote is not even my original quote. It's my cousin's quote growing up is that it doesn't cost you anything to be kind.
That's good. And third and final question, what's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
I want them to write that he loved through service.
Love it. So if you run into someone at a coffee shop, they're like, awesome, Demetri, learned about personal development, being kind to people. If you're in real estate or in actually any service, any kind of company, to be honest, like get back to people, operate from integrity, be nice, be kind. What's something we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners?
I think it's impactful that part of humility is asking for help, is asking to reach out, like whether I need to ask more often, which I'm starting to do, to say, hey, I need help with this. Or if the audience needs help with anything, I'll be that resource. I put my phone number out there, 305-4-RELIEF. Go call it. I'm not selling you anything. In fact, I've coached people to get their first deal, and then they grow up to be teaching me. So that's what I think is the universal fiber, is to share what we got. If someone is willing to ask for help.
Love it. Super awesome. Guys, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share. We go out there and we help one starfish or one person at a time. Together, we can change the world. Thanks so much for being on, Demetri.
My pleasure, Angela. Thank you for having me.